A to the K.
A to the K.
Hello, one and all. Welcome to the A2theK Wrestling Show. We're back for another week full of news
And
reviews, and booze. So speaking of which, coming up tonight on the Ringside Report. Oh yeah, it's not as long anymore.
Nice.
Is Vince McMahon directing WrestleMania?
Maybe. Are the Authors of Pain and Paul Ellering returning to WWE?
Maybe. John Cena's return has been announced. Definitely, that one.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. AEW files trademarks for possible new events.
Montez Ford and Bianca Belair get their own reality TV show.
WWE mock Tony Khan on Raw.
Ooh. Trish Stratus sent home from Raw.
A bit of good news in
Yes.
well, sadly, what was a tragedy, but the daughters of Jay Briscoe have actually been released from hospital.
Great news.
Indeed.
Mercedes Mone gives an update on what she plans to do with her future.
And WWE want to sign Kenny Omega. Is that a Photoshop?
No, they signed him now. We're out of date.
Nice.
I kid.
He could have turned up there at one point. I don't know.
Probably. Anthony, after you finish that drink, tell people when it's all coming up.
Right fucking now.
Yes, it is. So we'll kick off, Will, with a bit of Vince McMahon news, shall we? Because we haven't done that in a while. Now...
Return of the Mac, you might say.
Hey, I like it. So there's a bit of additional credence added to this, actually. So what started off as a bit of a clickbaity title, for those who may not have seen it, the WrestleMania teaser, like match graphic type stuff have been released.
Yes.
And the eagle-eyed amongst us noticed that on the movie posters that are the theme for this year's WrestleMania Goes Hollywood, see what they did? Nice there. In the very fine print at the bottom of that movie poster, it says, directed by Vince McMahon.
Interesting.
Why would it say that, Anthony? So I think a lot of people were kind of going, oh, it means nothing. It was probably a piece of like movie text that they had before everything that went down. But then our friends at For Eiffel have reported, actually, that there's belief in the company that Vince McMahon has returned to creative.
Oh, shit.
To which a lot of people are saying, so that's why they're booking Omos versus Brock Lesnar.
Right,
It might make sense.
Okay. I love how, like, and this is not me throwing shade, it is a little bit, this is now the scapegoat, isn't it? We can blame Vince for every bit of bad booking, even the stuff that he weren't there for.
Oh, yeah, of course. Just like he didn't get any credit for any of the good stuff. But
Exactly,
he was
yeah, we're going to do that now. It wasn't Triple H, it was Vince who brought Karrion Kross back.
Yeah.
I don't know why I picked on Karrion Kross. He's still got bags of potential, he just haven't done it properly.
Well, for someone who, goes on about TikTok, hurry the fuck up and get yourself over,
right?
fella. But what do you think of this? Do you think it is just a pure coinky dink that his name is on the poster? Do you think it's a little kind of tribute to his time there, or do you actually think Easter egg?
Stroking his ego, maybe. I don't know.
Well,
it's okay, he's still part of it. It's okay.
Maybe. But I mean, initially when this kind of came out and people saw it, I was like, that's just like a little nod to Vince. That doesn't really mean anything. But now with Fightful saying that he actually might be, or maybe is returning to creative, or at least advising in some capacity.
What's Dave Meltzer said?
Well, I don't know. Otherwise, we'd know what the answer would be, because it would be the opposite of what he says.
What's Ariel Helwani said?
Something about he hates Tony Khan.
It's about right. Yeah.
Are we going to talk about that beef at some point? But yeah, so it's a fascinating one. It could be a whole lot of nothing. Or it could be something. That's what you get on this show. A whole lot of nothing.
Bunch of question marks.
Yes.
From 2 marks.
Yeah, I like that. Much. So, I don't know.
Questionable marks. Anyway.
There was murmurs, wasn't there, that he was going to return eventually to creative.
And then he was returning just to facilitate a sale. Now he's creative.
I mean, WrestleMania season, Anthony. The guy who invented WrestleMania.
Find out he sold it to himself. Whatever.
The name on the contract does say McMahon. Not again. So, maybe. But, I don't know. Would it be the worst thing? But if, if Omos versus Brock is anything to go by, if you had any involvement in that, then, yeah, not great though, to be fair.
Brock can actually wrestle. I'm intrigued where this is going to go.
Yeah.
He may be tall, but surely he's going to get dragged around.
Well, when we talk about the Elimination Chamber results, I'm going to have a bit of a moan about that as well.
Okay then.
Based on that match. So,
all right
then. So yeah, is he back?
He's right there.
No, he's not. He's gone.
So, Carl, for those of you who remember the Authors of Pain and their very brief main roster run, but their very successful NXT run, suggestions are that they may be returning to WWE sometime soon with their original manager, Paul Ellering. Now, for those of you who remember the main roster run, I don't know why I'm talking to you. For those of you, Carl.
Those of me.
For those of you who remember the main roster run, their manager was actually Drake Maverick.
Yes.
So the suggestion is this may be a return to the NXT Authors of Pain with Paul Ellering at the helm. And rumour has it that they have such great trust in Paul on a personal level that he's actually the one negotiating and facilitating the possible return.
Fascinating.
Indeed.
So.
Indeed. This is one of them things, I think it'd be nothing but a good thing for the tag division. But then there's nothing in it. Well, they keep tearing it apart. So I feel like they'll come back a month and then they'll decide which one they like more, and then they'll inevitably do the split up of the tag team,
obviously,
which they always do.
Razor, or whatever he's called. I don't know the other guy's name. That's the only reason why.
Kim.
But yeah, it's a fascinating thing. They decided to start their own wrestling company, didn't they? Which never got off the ground.
Went a little bit pear-shaped, unfortunately. I think there was a lot of bad faith there. So they were originally booking, or they'd started their own show and they were originally booking somewhere in the UK, and I think they had a lot of people sort of not turn up or not honor bookings and stuff like that, and it sadly just never got itself off the ground, and that was sort of
obviously a terrible time to try and launch as well.
Unfortunately for them, yeah.
But yeah, fascinating. I always thought that they had a bit of potential, to be fair.
Without a doubt.
You love a good big man tag team.
Yeah, like a big shield, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah. But fascinating. Let's see whether it happens, shall we? But speaking of things that we know are going to happen, Anthony, John Cena's back, baby. So now we mentioned previously that he may
full
be...
head of hair this time, or?
Well, in parts. We mentioned on the run up to WrestleMania he wasn't really going to be very available because he's walking around in a skirt and tights and that for his new movie Ricky Stenicki. I don't know if you saw the pictures going around.
No.
Beautiful set of legs on the guy. But his TV return has been announced, and it's going to be in his hometown, Anthony. He's returning to Boston, Massachusetts on the 6th of March.
Interesting.
So, why might he be coming back then, do you think?
I really hope it's US title.
Yeah, it's got to be, hasn't it?
It's got to be. Austin Theory and him, that would be a great match. It'll help push Austin over. And, he's, as much as he was like the face that runs the place and world champion, multiple time world champion, the US title was synonymous with him.
Yeah. Oh, it absolutely was. And I'd like... Theory to get a similar sort of treatment, to be fair, where, he had a bit of a bad run of things with the whole Money in the Bank situation, but he seems to be getting booked a lot more dominantly now. Even if he's, I say dominant, he's winning.
Two things I really want from this is I want this match to happen, and I want Austin to be the smarmy, heely asshole and come out with the spinner belt just to wind him up.
I'd love it, honestly.
They're the two things I want out of this.
There's a lot of parallels for me between Cena and Theory, and I've been a big Theory fan for a long time, to be honest, and he's
to be honest, some sort of confessional.
I love him. Okay. I've modelled my facial hair after him and everything. Then he grew the full beard just to rub it in because I can't do that. But I don't know. I think you think back to early Cena, the whole ruthless aggression before he found the rap gimmick and all that. It wasn't really going well for him, was it? And you look at, Austin Theory, he's built like a brick shit house. He's got ring, credentials. And, he's
just ring credentials.
He's just working on that gimmick side of things, isn't he? Which I think I don't know if you saw the post-chamber press conference, but I think he came across really well in that as well.
No, I think he's actually doing a really good job. I think the fact he let him cut a promo on the fact that he... the whole briefcase situation went a bit pear-shaped. I loved it. I loved the fact that he was classing it as like a noose or whatever he said. Like it was just a weight, wasn't it? It was a problem.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that I know a lot of people were like not happy with the cash in on the US title, but I'm like, well, you know what? That makes a lot of sense because he like even the way he cut the promo and he's saying like he's not going to get near Roman. That's fair. It made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
What do you do in that scenario?
Well, exactly. He was unbeatable at the time, and he felt like he was just going to set himself up for.
It's not like he never tried. He tried to cash in twice, as I understand it. I know the one time with Tyson Fury.
Tyson got in the way of that.
But I believe he tried to cash in once before that.
There was a couple of times, definitely, where it kind of never panned out. But Yeah.
So it's not as if he only ever went for the US title. It's just like he kept trying.
I still
couldn't
think,
touch him.
I'm still not the biggest fan of that as a thing. I think if you've got an opportunity to cash in, you're going to go after the main one, aren't you?
But the opportunity, he kept trying to, and that's what satisfies me with it. You go, well, it's not like he was just like, well, I'm only going to go for this. He tried and couldn't, so he's like, what do I do?
Yeah, no, it's fair. But I don't know. I think this kind of match is the thing that would make the likes of A Theory, going up against Cena. So many eyeballs will be on it. People will start to, learn who he is and stuff. It's amazing. So hopefully that is the match that happens. And with it being in his hometown, who better to come out and interrupt the hometown hero with a bit of heelish shtick, if you will. Heat. Yeah, that Theory heat up in this bitch. So yeah, I want to see it.
Indeed. So, Carl, speaking of things you might want to see, AEW have filed a further trademark, to the other trademarks they've had in the past, for AEW Collision. Now, this trademark, according to this here, is in relation to educational and entertainment services, namely a continuing program about wrestling accessible.
Educational?
Wrestling accessible by radio, television, satellite audio, video, and computer networks. So it seems like we may have another show in the midst. We don't know.
Collision of wrestling and homework. Boom. Boom.
Yeah. So we don't know too much detail about this, about whether it's going to be another show, whether it's going to be a rebrand of an existing show. We don't know a great deal just yet, but we do know that it's a trademark and they filed it.
It's fascinating. I wonder whether it's the replacement of Forbidden Door. Maybe Forbidden Door was the original thing and now they're going to call it Collision.
Could this be him prepping himself for when he buys WWE?
Could be. I mean, he has got a big fucking announcement to make tonight. He's back to that again, isn't he? There's an announcement tonight. So like, who knows what's going to be.
Shit that's like huge to him.
Yeah.
And no one gives a shit.
Well, I think, I
bought a new Mercedes. No one cares.
Why is that, Tony? Because you got a lot of fucking money. I think he elaborated on it a little bit, saying it was something along the lines of it was going to be a positive change to the future of AEW or something.
Oh, no.
So
he's quitting.
He's going to hire someone who knows what he's doing to book things. Imagine. So yeah, who knows? But
who knows?
Always exciting when you hear about these little trademark filings, isn't it? Speaking of things that are exciting to some people, fascinatingly, we are getting a new reality TV show, Anthony, starring none other than Bianca Belair and Montez Ford. Now, the reality show is set to take a look into their personal lives, but will also feature elements of, obviously, them on the job. So we're going to get to see some behind-the-scenes stuff of them interacting in WWE, and also what they're like, obviously, in their private lives and stuff like that. Now, some people hate this kind of thing. Some people love this kind of thing. I gave Roads to the Top a try, damn it. So who knows? Maybe I'll give this a go. I've said before, so my missus doesn't like wrestling. She's never been a fan of wrestling. But you know what she loved? Soul Divas.
So you're saying this might be a pathway to non-wrestling fans to maybe get involved in wrestling content and enjoy it?
I think so, yeah. Obviously, it's that kind of reality TV stuff which, certain demographics absolutely love, don't they? So if it's a way to get more eyeballs on that kind of... Well, get more eyeballs on WWE via that demographic is potentially a good thing. But I think it's also interesting to see, obviously, these two are kind of, in this kind of project as well. Obviously, they're married in real life and they're doing this business together and stuff like that. So it could make for some compelling telly, to be fair.
Not.
Or not. I'm trying to.
No, I you know what? I'm probably never going to watch it. It's not my cup of tea, the whole reality thing. I've never watched Ms. and Mrs. or any of those things. Yeah. Right? I get that there is an audience for it. But correct me if I'm wrong, these things are usually not an actual peek into the real life. They're a pretend peek into the real life where they embellish certain drama.
Why on about it's reality TV, man. Reality. Clues in the name.
About as real as WWE itself.
You saying wrestling's fake?
I'm saying it's predetermined, just like this reality show. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure it'll appeal to the people that they want it to appeal to. I'm personally like meh, but again, I never watched any of the reality stuff WWE put out, so I can't really offer too much of an opinion on this other than a negative one, which is what I'm doing.
Okay. Fair play. But yeah, I think they said obviously they filmed like a sizzle reel, I think they called it, to put it out there, and ended up getting picked up. And obviously,
nobody's like that. It must have been some sizzle.
Definitely some sizzle. I mean, you saw what he tweeted on Valentine's Day, so God knows what we're going to see.
I don't know how much filming they can actually use.
I wonder how much of it. Do you know what? Right, I'm going to have a very unpopular opinion. I think when we talk Elimination Chamber about Mr. Ford and his his singles debut, because I know a lot of people fucking loved it. I had some thoughts, so we'll get onto that.
Okay,
but
intriguing.
Yeah, exciting for them. Obviously, they're both really excited to have this new show, and yeah, hopefully it does well for them and for WWE
Indeed.
as well.
So, Carl, nice quick one, but an interesting one. Very recently, we saw a bit of back and forth online between Ariel Helwani and Tony Khan. Obviously, following, well, not immediately following, it's been a while actually, but they had the infamous interview.
You saying he holds grudges?
It seems he does. So they had the infamous interview not long after the whole Punk controversy. Tony was very awkward in that and refused to answer certain questions. It ended up with a little bit of blah blah blah
blah blah blah.
Blah blah. Bad blood between them. Very recently, Tony Khan has sort of tweeted out saying that Ariel Helwani is a fraud and is legitimate as legitimate a journalist as AEW's Tony Schiavone.
I mean, that was a bit of a cheap shot, wasn't it?
I don't know what that was, but there you go. So, there was a bit of back and forth between the two of them on Twitter. WWE decided to make reference to the Piss-and company that they're definitely not in competition with and don't care about. During a segment with The Miz on Raw this week, in which Corey Graves basically said that Miz TV is Miz TV is an unbiased journalist, and then added that WWE is rife with those. So a direct little pop towards Ariel, the relationship with WWE, and Tony Khan not being too happy.
It's interesting, isn't it? I didn't see that many people come out the woodwork to go, "God, WWE's mentioned AEW again," because it's just fascinating.
I'll give WWE the credit, right? They are more subtle about it. Like, they'll have a jab that it could go over your head if you don't pay too much attention, because they don't directly reference them. Whereas AEW's on the other side of it, going, "Well, maybe I'll go to WWE," and saying,
"Yeah."
So I feel like that's it's low hanging fruit with AEW. They're too obvious about the cheap shots.
I mean, speaking of cheap shots, did you see Ariel Helwani's tweet in the first place saying, "Don't pay attention to the snowman," implying that he's a massive cokehead?
I mean, in all fairness, that it seems to be the prevailing rumour.
Yes.
I'm not saying it's true. I'm not saying it's not.
Didn't Big Swole come out as well and say something, along the lines of, you weren't saying this when you were, taking all my weed or whatever like that. About Tony. It's like, okay, interesting kind of boss. Speaking of interesting things, though, this is fascinating now, because this appears to be the second or third instance of this happening. Now, the plan, supposedly, is we're going to get Trish Stratus making a return and being involved in the stuff that we've seen with Becky Lynch and Lita against Damage Control. Now, this was originally? Reggie was involved at some point. That's God. I'm glad I don't have to see him every week anyway, put it that way. Because who watches NXT? I
think that might be why they put a mask on him. People are sick of your fucking face.
But yeah, so the plan is that Trish is going to be involved in this angle in some capacity. However, there's been a couple of times now where they are planning to have her come out and be a part of this, and that hasn't been the case. Now, what would have been a more fitting time to do this than on Raw in Toronto this past week? And by all accounts, the Ding Dong Hello segment with Bayley, Trish was originally scheduled to make an appearance as part of that. She was backstage, and due to creative changes, that didn't end up happening.
Vince is back. Back again.
So apparently Trish left before the segment, because they basically said to her, "Well, we're not going to use you." So she's like, "Well, what the fuck am I doing here then?" And left. So
that ain't good.
It's not good at all, really. But
that doesn't sound like a Triple H thing to me.
So I don't know. I personally would love to see Becky, Lita, and Trish taking on Damage Control.
I know you would.
I know. I mean, who wouldn't? But Dakota Kai is obviously still suffering from an injury, so I don't know whether they're just waiting until she's fully healed, or maybe.
And Trish is there, like, at least tell me before I get here.
Well, exactly. But I don't know. But yeah, I think we all would have liked a healthy dose of Stratusfaction on Raw this week, and that we did not get.
I mean, yeah. Would have got a huge pop that with the music hitting.
Oh yeah.
Toronto as well. Like you say, would have been perfect. They fucked it. They ruined it.
I mean, I don't know if it was in Toronto.
I don't know.
It's in Canada.
I look like a geographer.
Yeah. I think. So yeah, we didn't get to see it, but hopefully soon. And I'm still hoping that Mania will get to see that 3-on-3 match.
With any luck.
Fingers.
Got to be where it's headed, surely. So, Carl, again, another quick one, but just a nice little bit of positive news in the midst of a tragedy. But obviously, everyone we mentioned previously, and obviously the wrestling community more on the loss of Jay Briscoe. following a car accident. Now, obviously, his 2 daughters were also involved in that car accident and were in critical condition in hospital. So the positive news to come from it is that they are, and as from the post that was put up here on social media, they've now been released from hospital. I believe it's still a long road of recovery for them, but they're sort of back and out of hospital now and in recovery, which is fantastic news.
No, definitely is. Obviously, what a horrible time for them. Obviously, not only their own injuries, but obviously what happened with Jay as well. And
Indeed.
Nice to see that they're at least on the road to recovery, and hopefully it's a speedy one for them. Obviously, horrible times, and I think they've still got like a GoFundMe or something available.
Yeah,
set up for them.
$350,000 at the minute, which is just heartwarming to see.
Yeah, so obviously,
it's still there, still can contribute.
Yeah, if anyone can, obviously spare something. I'm sure the families would really appreciate it. So. The next thing to talk about then, so Mercedes Mone is your new IWGP Women's Champion, Anthony.
She is. Completed it, mate.
She completed it, defeated Kairi Sane, and has since had an interview basically talking about her decision to not with us.
Oh, okay. Good luck. Did she?
But in that interview, she was discussing obviously her decision to come to Japan and things like that. And she essentially said that it was when she went to Mexico, and similar now that she's in Japan, she just...
Sorry, that's just the way that was put. She went to Mexico and thought, I really should go to Japan.
Well, I don't put words in her mouth.
I just don't want to be here, you know?
Yeah. just
I know it's not how you meant it, just tickle me.
Step all over my news for you. But she basically said when she was in Mexico, similar to how she is in Japan, she basically, despite the language barriers and all that kind of stuff, she just felt it was a massive learning experience. And what she wants to do is to obviously hone her craft. She loves wrestling. She wants to be the best she can be at it. So she wants to go around, the world and pick up all that knowledge, because eventually she'd like to open her own training school. Which makes a lot of sense, really. Why she's taking what is it Cody says? Taking a detour.
Yes.
Or it's excursion. That's it.
Excursion? That sounds more of a Cody
I thought
word,
detour
actually.
wasn't, fancy enough for Cody.
It's not apropos enough.
I still can't get over the fact he wants to do this, so what do you want to talk about, as a catchphrase.
There's going to be a t-shirt.
But regardless, I think that's fantastic news. I don't think you hear enough of, women in the wrestling business opening up their own training schools and stuff like that. So I think, obviously...
It's one of them, isn't it? Like you say, there's a lot of different styles out there, and the fact that she wants to sort of get a bit of an education for herself on that, even though she legitimately was one of the best female wrestlers in the industry, she still wants to sort of hone her craft, as it were. I think that's fantastic to see.
Well, exactly. I mean, obviously WWE's got a very particular style, but it's not, especially in today's climate, it's not the only place to go to work, is it? So
it is not.
The more knowledge, the more you can absorb, the better. So yeah,
she'll make plenty of money.
She will make plenty of money. You can bank on that. But she is, planning to open that school. So
I just love how, she's made Cody look a right mug, hasn't she? She was like, I'm going to go to Japan. I'm going to win this title. I'm going to achieve all this. And it was a couple of weeks later, done it. Cody's still fucking cutting promos.
Well, this is true.
I'm not being funny, Cody. She's fucking running rings around you, man.
This is true. But
it's all said in humour before anyone comes at me. I know it's storytelling.
Come on,
I'm really enjoying the Cody stuff, actually.
So yeah, just a little bit of tidbit, but I thought a fascinating one nonetheless.
A bit of a what?
Tidbit.
Oh, sorry. So, Carl, purely rumour mill at this point, but let's discuss it. WWE allegedly think they have a chance of signing the AEW EVP, Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
And this has come from a recent report from Fightful. I nearly said it wrong again. Fightful Select.
Why can't you say that word?
I don't know. So, allegedly, Kenny Omega's contract was due up early 2023, which is now. There's a bit of speculation as to whether the contract may be extended due to his injury, which is apparently is part of the... they had a similar thing with other contracts. So it's built into the existing contract, as I understand it, that he may have to extend it based on the injury time or some crap. But what we know so far is that his contract is due up this year, that they haven't negotiated anything new, and that WWE are very much interested. In fact, the rumour being that when they were saying that they had eyes on someone bigger than Jay White, this may have been the case. I feel like this would be a massive damaging blow to AEW if they took Kenny.
Oh god, yeah. I mean, to take two of the founding fathers, if you will.
And then we need to get the young bucks and then...
Well, the Bucks, they're on there last year as well, so it's a lot easier to go over there as well when you've got both Cody and Kenny.
The trouble with Kenny and the Bucks, right? And I'm sure they'll get a pop in the WWE. I'm sure they'll even do reasonably well in WWE, but they're famous for being the non-WWE guys. So I just don't know whether it'll... It might be a bit of a flash in the pan. Once the shock of them being signed is gone, what they were famous for was being popular outside of WWE. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
I mean, I massively sympathise with Cody to a degree because what's a better, grander stage than WrestleMania to go and apply your craft? It's where you dream of being, isn't it? At the end of the day, and Kenny Omega's never really worked a day in his life in WWE other than a couple of trial matches.
He's just gonna stop at that.
He's never worked a day in his life. That guy. So he's what is he? He's 40 something now, or he's around about 40, isn't he?
42, I want to say.
So it's there's not that long left in the peak of his career with all the injuries he's had as well to finally give that a go. So you can understand from Kenny's perspective that's what he does actually want to do.
Kenny's perspective is the talk show that they're going to make him have on WWE.
Everyone's got one. But I mean, what a massive fucking fail it would be if he ends up, because there's no guarantee they're going to keep him for that time he missed out on injury. I don't think it's contractually. It's more just like a good gesture.
Yeah.
But imagine if Kenny Omega shows up in WWE before the AEW game gets released. Basically, convinced Tony to make. He wanted the old school engine of wrestling video games back that much. He convinced Tony to buy a company, let him make a game, so he could then just fuck off and just play the game anyway. But yeah, I don't know. It's a fascinating thought.
Yeah, that it would be a real bad blow for AEW. That,
and yeah, by all accounts, Tony's used to some bad blow. Allegedly. So I think that is all the news for this week.
Yes, it is.
Short and snappy from us for once, but
he's short. No,
you're right. He's definitely snappy. You may have noticed us partaking in
Hold on.
Down the lights. Yeah, top rope. That one, down the lights.
Look at it. It's a shiny label.
Not making it any better.
Anyway,
sorry for anyone listening to this. You're just hearing us grunt for no reason.
Top ropes, lager than life, Carl.
Lager than life.
And I don't say this in a bad way, but this is the name is very suiting. This is probably the most lagery one we've had so far.
Yes,
and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah,
but if you don't like the sort of playing around with beers, if you will, and having the fruity taste and stuff like that, this is just a straightforward, a very nice but a very straightforward lager.
Yeah,
and it is delicious, refreshing, but probably the most sort of simple but in a good way.
Yeah,
drinks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think top rope are synonymous with very kind of artisanal type of beers and drinks that you can't get anywhere else really. But obviously, sometimes you just fancy a really good lager, so it's nice to see in their offering they've just got a genuinely good lager.
And it is like you say, that if you're not into the fruity notes and stuff like that, it's just a nice straightforward lager. It's delicious.
Yes, it is.
So still top shelf stuff.
Top shelf. And speaking of things you want to get, you get yourself 10% off on that as well.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, codes
down there.
Just put in A2theK 10.
That's the one.
A2theK.
All right, Mick Foley. 10. Giving away industry secrets there, if anyone who didn't know our intro. But you can also, on the top shelf, get yourself some t-shirts from Pro Wrestling Tees. Not just any t-shirts, our t-shirts, including this one. Not this one. This is Macho Man.
I actually decided to wear this one because if you look here, we got established 2020.
Look at that.
What has it been today, Carl?
Beautiful.
Well, was it last week? But either way, you put up a post today about 3 years ago. 3 years ago, we were sporting this logo here. The new shirts have the new logo. This is a retro. This is OG.
This is OG. Can't get them anymore. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, look at that. Poetic, sentimental bastard. But, you might not like the old, you might like the new. And you can get our new designs as well, courtesy of all Wrestling Tees.
Yeah.
Including Predict This, for anyone who takes part in our prediction series and doesn't have the best of times. All right. Fucking LA shite. But also, we have to ask this question. Are you watching us on Pro Wrestling TV right now, or are you watching us on YouTube? Either is great. But if you're watching us on YouTube, firstly, make sure you subscribe. We appreciate that.
I believe there's some sort of notification bell so you can get notified when we put videos out, even though we do it at the same time every week.
Yeah, don't click that. don't invade your privacy. You can just get us when you need us, you know?
Private. Have a private time and we rock up. You don't want to.
Hiya. You know what I mean?
What you doing?
That's the next step, isn't it? In you know, the evolution of like notification stuff, just having like different sounds depending on the notification. Every now and again, it's just going,
no, you'd be absolutely menace with that.
Oh yeah, it's like your old email tune.
Mail, motherfucker.
Yes.
Good times.
So that's where it needs to be. But if you're watching us on YouTube, we do appreciate it. But you should also give Pro Wrestling TV a chance. Give them a try. So you can get it for free on your smart TV, on your phone, on anywhere basically, tablets and all that good stuff. And it's 24/7 wrestling content, Anthony.
Indeed. Loads of fun stuff. Obviously, notably recently signed MLW to the TV service, so you can see it. Like, that's the exclusive home for MLWs. That's where you catch all this stuff.
We've also got the second best British wrestling talk show podcast. People.
They've come along. Yeah, that's true.
Come to join us, obviously. In What Culture. No?
Nice.
No one buying that? Okay.
No?
Well,
Okay.
obviously, you got the amazing What Culture on there, so you can go and check them out as well. But all the stuff, as you said, MLW, AAA, Warrior Wrestling, TNT, Maria Kanellis's Women's Wrestling Army.
Indeed.
Everything's on there. Talk shows as well. Alicia A2theK, giving you all the insights to MLW. There's just loads of stuff, so go and check it out. But yeah, that is us for another week on Wrestling News. Be sure to check out our Elimination Chamber results, review and reactions, if you will. Reactions and review.
Yeah.
You know,
Carl's going to moan about stuff.
I'm going to moan. Anthony's going to moan. It's a fun time. People seem to like that. And we've also got coming this week as well, something we actually filmed last week is going to be a very cool one for us, which is the Interview Rumble. So go and check that out as well. But until next time, we will say bye.